Hello, everyone, and welcome back or welcome to the Introspective Diaries. I'm Lana Hasia, and if you're new here, this channel is all about faith, introspection, spirituality, and embodying our higher selves. So, this video is titled Spiritually Gifted Woman, Your Fear of Being Seen is Actually Your Fear of Standing Out. So, if you're a spiritually gifted woman, and I always say at the start of my videos that I believe that every woman is spiritually gifted. However, there are some women who are more in tune with their gifts or who might have more potent, stronger gifts that may come with a little bit more struggles, that may come with a little bit more complications that they're here to understand, they're here to learn through and heal through. And if you're that kind of woman, you may or may not have the fear of being seen. And if you're a spiritually gifted woman, this is usually because at some point in your life, the way that you have embodied yourselves, the way that you have carried yourself, the way that your gifts have naturally shone through has triggered other people, and they have tried to put you down for some aspect of yourself, whether that could be related to how you carry yourself, your appearance, your insights, your gifts. These are things that people try to attack from a very, very young age. And this is because if you are a spiritually gifted woman who has a divine assignment here on earth, then then you will naturally stand out without trying, okay? And this is because you are born with your gifts. You will grow into them, you will activate your gifts one by one through different initiations. However, naturally, if you were born with it, it's always going to be there. So that means that even during the times in your life where you weren't even aware of your own spiritual gifts, or during the times in your life where you weren't even thinking about yourself in that way, you weren't even thinking about building a relationship with God, you weren't thinking of that there was anything unique about you, a lot of people had already noticed. And usually if the people who notice are triggered by your gifts, or they feel intimidated, the enemy will try to use them as a low vibrational vessel to attack you in some way, shape, or form. So, this is why some of the people who were meant to care for you at different aspects of your life may have actually turned out to be the people who betrayed you. So, I'm talking about teachers, um, friends, family, lovers, strangers, right? So when you're a spiritually gifted woman, you are more likely to face a lot of betrayal, a lot of backstabbing by simply just being yourself. And this is because, like I always say, if people do not have what it takes to be around you, if someone does not have the spiritual fortitude to be around you, then and they allow the spirit of envy to sit within them, then the enemy will use them as a low vibrational vessel to attack you, right? To try to comfort you. And this is why some of your friends have betrayed you. This is why people have gone to extreme lengths to try to put you down about some aspects about yourself. And at some point in time, you probably would have internalized this. So when you internalize these things that people pick on, you actually develop a fear of being seen, right? Because you're thinking that, okay, if I act in this way, or just by being myself, I am attracting attacks, I am attracting, people who just want to put me down, then I'm going to try and act in a socially conventional way. And this is where the masking begins, right? This is where you dim your own light. This is where you actually become an active participant in dimming your light and in not standing within your power and within your truth. And the dangers of this is a core part of completing your divine assignment on earth is actually truly embodying your power and truly knowing your greatness, truly understanding how great you are and how powerful you are. Because when you stand in that, it's a lot less easy for people to attack you, or even when people do try to comfort you, you know how to resist these attacks. And the thing is, people try to put you down before you even try to do anything, before you even communicate with them, because they immediately feel your power. They just don't want you to stand within your power. They don't want you to recognize how powerful you truly are. But like I said, if you're truly a spiritually gifted woman, then you must learn to break through the illusions that other people have projected onto you. And this is not always an easy task, trust me. It's something that can be very grueling, and it's something that is, will take you through, it'll take you through it. Okay, you're going to go through the dark night of the soul. You will go through an ego death that is going to be quite painful, but it's necessary for your own evolution. Right? So when you do begin to take on the illusions that people have tried to project onto you, then you start to develop, like I said, this fear of being seen. You're scared that if I dress in this way, people are gonna make fun of me, or if I speak in this way, or if I show people that I have this talent or this gift, or if I just if I by just simply existing, like, there's something that's going to happen, someone's going to try and come for me. Now, what this actually is a fear of standing out, because those same things that you are afraid of doing because you're afraid other people are gonna try and put you down, are things that you naturally emit. These things naturally come from you, right? So you are actually aware on some kind of level that, hey, I actually stand out, right? Because no matter how much you try to mask, or no matter how much you try to shrink and dim your own light, it's always going to be there, right? People are always going to notice. And I recognize this when I was at school, where, I would try to fit in with people and try to bring myself down on their level, engage in whatever BS they were engaging in. And even though I was still doing this, I was still thriving. Okay. Like, I was doing so well, and they were still easily intimidated by me. Okay, so this is what I mean, that people, like, no matter how much you try to, like, meet people on a level, there's always going to be an aspect of yourself that stands out. That's what I'm saying. It's not actually a fear of being seen, it's a fear of standing out, because you're aware that when you do stand out, then people almost have reason to want to harm you, or people almost have reason to want to attack you in some way, shape, or form. And the antidote to this is really and truly stepping into your power and embodying your power, and knowing that if you have to dim yourself, that if you have to shrink yourself around anyone, that's not someone you're meant to be around. And I'm going to say this, plainly, that a lot of spiritually gifted women do not have friends, or they do not have a lot of friends. So you either need to find people who are on your wavelength, which is going to be rare, or you just need to be happy being a lone wolf. Okay, this is something that you will learn to come into, because when you're a spiritually gifted woman, you actually have, because of these attributes that you have, and because you will naturally attract and repel people, you also have this gift of literally creating happiness, of alchemizing happiness, of transmuting all the negativity people have sent to you into positivity. And because of that, it's easier for you to be happy. Okay, it's easier for you to be just radiating joy and happiness than the average person. So I always say that whenever you feel like there's a downside to being spiritually gifted, or whenever you feel like there's a downside to having certain gifts, there's usually something innate within you that um that almost kind of counteracts that, right? So if you're someone who has not been the luckiest in friendships, you will have the ability to create so much joy from yourself. You will have very adventurous experiences, but this only happens when you are actually willing to embody who God says you are. When you're willing to step into your God given identity, this is when that everything begins to really, really align in your favor. I mean, everything throughout your entire life has been aligning in your favor, but when you embody your God given identity, you see things very, very differently. You see things like almost so clearly that you see things outside of the illusions that people wanted to project onto you. And knowing that you always stand out, that you always stick out like a sore thumb, should be something that's very empowering for you. Okay. And I say this because you need to understand that it means that this is who you're meant to be, that you cannot run away from it. No matter how much you try to shrink yourself, no matter how much you try to belittle yourself or whatnot, you are just going to be that person who stands out, okay? And you have to start to work on releasing those fears that people have projected onto you, and to start, like I said, taking up space within yourself, within your spirit. You cannot walk through life being small, because that's how the enemy attacks you. When you're not operating in your God given identity, the enemy attacks you because he's like, yeah, she just thinks she's some regular person, or she just thinks that, she thinks XYZ about herself. I'm just going to give her more reason to think that, or I'm just going to give him more reason to think that. So but when you operate in your God-given identity, even if people do still try to come for you, you see it very, very differently, okay? So this is all I wanted to say for this video. If you are a spiritually gifted woman who has who has gone through this painful kind of experience of being hated on, of being beaten down by others to crazy degrees, and you have taken on those identities, and you're now at a point in your life where you're saying to yourself, I know I'm more than this. I know I'm bigger than this. Feel free to have a look in my at the link in the description box below and work with me if you would like to. And I will see you in the next video. I wish you all peace and blessings.